everybody, it's Terry here at Money Matters for Everybody, and today I'm joined by everybody's favorite guest.
TJ.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So I wanted to do a check-in to tell people how your business is going, and first off, how about we give an update on how's your business doing?
It's doing good right now. It's the beginning of April, so it's in our state one of the busiest times of the year because it's the beginning of spring. Everybody wants mulch. Of course, lawns are starting to grow, so you have flower bed maintenance, mulching, and the lawns are growing like every single week. So it's a pretty busy time of the year, but it's also good. So
Good. How many customers do you have?
currently I have right around 20.
That's awesome.
And I have some customers that like want me to come bi-weekly. I also have currently one customer that wants me to come by twice a week. So
Good. And that's what I was going to tell you, to tell our viewers what distinguishes you from other landscaping companies, besides the fact that you're a teenpreneur.
yeah, so basically I charge I charge right around what the professionals charge, but what distinguishes me from the other ones is how I work is I'll text some customers at the beginning of the week and ask them like, hey, is your lawn ready to be mowed? And then I'll determine what day I'll be over to mow theirs. Sometimes, like, I do have some customers that I don't need to ask them that because they want me to come every week. Even like when it's dry in the summer and it's not growing, they tell me that they want me to come every single week. So I mean, I'm not gonna argue with them. I mean, it's their money. So
definitely. But that's what distinguishes you, is that you connect with your customers usually at the beginning of each week. And there's some customers in this neighborhood that if you're driving by, you'll say your lawn doesn't look like it needs to be mowed this week. Do you want to push it till later in the week or push it back to next week?
Yeah.
And you tell customers that when you give them their price, because TJ's, been mowing lawns for a couple years now. So his price is not coming in significantly cheaper than anybody else in the area. We keep tabs on what people are charging. Yeah. And we'll let people know that, typically there's about summer, like mowing season runs, I don't even know, right? What, like at the most 26 weeks, right? Yeah. Maybe half the year. And that over that course of that mowing season, you're going to have weeks where you don't need your lawn mowed. And I'm not going to charge you. I'm not just going to come to do your lawn to get a paycheck. That's not good for your lawn. But then on the reverse side of that, you have had some customers.
I have had some customers where I charge them double what professionals charge, just for the fact that they want me to mow it every other week, or every 3 weeks in the middle of spring. In the middle of spring, I prefer to come every week.
It's not
because I want the paycheck, but because if I don't, it gets really long. I have to mow it like 3 times over. I need to get sharpened blades really often. And I usually run into problems mowing those yards because I'll have to go around with the leaf blower at the end to blow around the clippings, because otherwise they'll sit on the yard and cause bare spots.
So, and it's not good for the grass, right? If it gets really tall. I know when we moved into this house, there was a landscaper, and your dad wanted to, they let us know that, the grounds were really well taken care of, and they let us know that they had a landscaping service. And then your dad was like, oh, pretty please, can I, right? You were too young to mow at that point. So we actually had a landscaper, and they would come every week, regardless of whether or not it needed it. And that kind of irritated me because I feel like you're not mowing grass that hasn't grown. You're just riding over the grass that hasn't grown and sending me a bill. So that's interesting. Do you want to talk about some of the maintenance that you're going through right now with your
equipment?
Yeah.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the year, I got my zero-turn serviced by the local John Deere dealer. Just because I wanted it to be looked over by a professional. I wanted everything to be tip-top, just for the beginning of the year. That's just my preventative. I'd rather them look at it at the beginning of the year, make sure that there's nothing wrong, because they'll go through the whole mower. They'll let me know if there's anything that looks like it needs to be replaced, and then charge me to replace it.
Did you do anything with your tire?
Yeah, I think they patched the tire because it holds air all the time now. They didn't charge me
Nice.
extra for it, so
Okay.
that was nice. And also, one of the things that I really like is, or one of the reasons why I got it maintained at the beginning of the year is because um, I don't want to run into issues in the middle of spring when I need it running every single week and most days of the week. I also don't want it to break down on me in the middle of the summer. And yeah, I just don't want to run into issues with it. In the summer, I'll maintain it myself with oil changes and lubrication and stuff. But that stuff's pretty easy. I also will change the blades. Um, right now, I'm changing them every couple weeks.
Sorry
So
if you guys can hear Daisy down here. She's trying to take a nap. She's really loud. Okay, yeah. So you will change your blades.
yeah,
I think at some point we said you might have to change your blades like every week.
yeah. Right now, I've been mowing for about 2 weeks. A week in, I noticed that it's starting to not mohawk the grass, but not cut every single blade. So I have to
Go over it twice.
go over it double, even triple on some yards.
Okay.
So I am
So we may
changing
have
the
to
blades.
every week.
And yeah, so basically that's also one of the things I'm looking at, getting one or two more blades. One or two more sets of blades.
Yeah.
That way I have 4. So
And
even if I
learn
have
how
to
to-
change it every month or every week, I have a whole month's worth. And then probably halfway through the month, I'll take it in to get sharpened. That's also the other thing. I don't sharpen them myself because there's just so much involved in it. They need to be balanced right. If they're not, it can damage the grass, and I do not want to.
Could damage your mower?
It could damage the mower.
That's the more important part, right?
Well,
I mean, in my opinion,
that's
$3,500 piece of equipment.
yeah, it's one of those things where, I mean, it most often hurts the lawn more than it hurts the mower.
Okay.
Because you'd have to really, really bend it in order for it to hit the mower deck or something like that. So
good to know.
that's one of the maintaining pieces. I also, the leaf blower that I bought it new from Steel this year, just because my old Craftsman, I owned it for 3 or 4 years, actually 3 years, and it really wasn't meant to do more than 1 yard a week. So
it really beat it up, huh?
It got beaten up and it just stopped running on me. I did troubleshoot it. It was basically jerry-rigged together by the end of its life cycle, because I just wanted to get me through that last fall of leaf cleanups. Actually, the last leaf cleanup of the year. Luckily, it was the last one. It died on me like right as I was finishing up the lawn. So God really blessed me by helping me keep that piece of equipment running through that job. And then, so I bought a new leaf blower. I also am currently fixing the chainsaw we bought a couple of years ago. Of course, as soon as I buy all the protective equipment, it stops running. So that's pretty nice.
Pretty much like Murphy's Law right there.
Yeah.
So we also bought a steel. Now, is the steel leaf blower is that made in the U.S.?
Yeah, all of Steel products are made in the U.S.
Great.
Same as John Deere. That's why I prefer Steel. Everything is made in the U.S. And I think all of their parts are made in the one state. I forget what state it is, but if they're not made in the one state, they're shipped in from other states. So it's not like they're put together with parts from China and those stuff.
Awesome.
I actually asked the salesman, and I looked it up myself. Everything on them is made in the U.S.
Good. And the
Yeah.
chainsaw, so the chainsaw was purchased like 2 years ago, and I would say I'm not a techie, and I'm not a mechanical expert. So we were taking that apart this year.
We were taking that apart and
trying to figure
I
out. 'cause it
realized a
wasn't
couple
working.
of things wrong with it.
Yeah.
The flywheel was severely damaged. I don't know
How does that happen?
how that happened. I really, honestly, I am under the belief that whoever is using it
Is that your dad?
Yes.
You're giving your dad a hard time. So we're going to purchase, I think for your dad, we're going to purchase
an electric.
Yeah, so the use of a chainsaw, I'm sure that I grew up, my dad used a chainsaw, my brothers used a chainsaw.
Yeah,
Tim, my husband Tim, was not raised using this tough equipment, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit of, I feel like, carelessness to some extent. You work with a chainsaw, like you had better know what you're doing. And
yeah, it's one of those things where I don't fear equipment, I respect
it.
because you know that could take your life or
Yeah.
take a limb. So
That's very good, TJ. It's simply a tool. It doesn't think, it doesn't act, it doesn't have feelings. It just does what you tell it to do. And
if it does, you have an issue.
yeah. So we did have an issue where your dad was holding a chainsaw above his head. That was the steel. Maybe that did something to the flywheel having it.
Yeah, honestly, I'm under the belief that, well, number one, I should use my equipment. I should let him, like other people use my equipment sometimes,
if they're oriented to it,
not abuse it. Like, I mean, it was used pretty hard, like bogging out and stuff, because he wasn't using a sharp chain. So that hurt the motor severely.
And there's a cool chain, like a charger that you can, or is it charger sharpener?
Yeah.
Like a cool tool that you can actually buy for the end of your chainsaw, and it has like it like clips onto the chain, and then you basically start the chainsaw and you push it into the ground for like 5 seconds, and it sharpens your entire chain, which is so cool. So I guess the long story short is, it's not very hard to pull up a YouTube video and do a little bit of education, which is what we did. Yeah. Well, this morning we could talk about, my car needed windshield wiper replacements. So TJ came with me, and you actually figured that out on your own. Yeah. The only thing I said is, hey, listen, if you slaps down on the windshield, it could shatter it. So please take extra caution not to do that. So you want to talk about that?
That's the next topic. Doing your own maintenance, like some stuff
as much as you can
be really a lot cheaper.
Cost effective.
The windshield wipers, they're not cheap themselves, like the windshield wipers, but as soon as you add in mechanic fees, it can be costly. And really, it only took 2 minutes of my time between taking off the old ones and putting on the new ones. So it's not that hard. You can do that pretty easily. Oil changes also, I can't speak from experience doing a vehicle like a car, but I have done oil changes on my mowers, and the new zero turn that I bought is very, very hard to do an oil change on, because they hid the one area where the oil comes out of. So you need to like really get a small tool in there. And but my dad's car, I looked under it. It's just oil pan on the bottom. You take the bolt off, you drain it, you put on a new oil filter, and
super easy.
Pour the oil in. I mean, the only thing that I can think of that could go wrong is you don't pour in enough oil, but that's why you check the owner's manual if you don't know that off the top of your head.
Yeah. So. Usually I think it's like, what, 2 quarts of, yeah. So you just make sure you pour that in.
Unless you're owning a diesel truck, that's like
10
gallons.
I'm just kidding. That's funny. That's cool. Yeah, so the windshield wipers, honestly, I drive my Prius C so infrequently that usually I take it in for inspection once a year, and they will change the oil, do a tire rotation, and they typically hit me up to replace the windshield wipers and the cabin air filter. I've let them do the windshield wipers. I won't anymore. And the cabin air filter, that's actually super, super easy. You just buy the filter. It's like a couple bucks at the supply store, and it's actually in the glove box. So the things that you can do on your own, I think, are super, super helpful and worthwhile.
Yep.
Anything else you want to say?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Hopefully you found this helpful. At least you love seeing Junior on display and talking about his principles of money. He won't our hard work, right? Number 1 of principles of money is get to work. Yep. Get to work now. And then, so I think I'm very excited to see how things are going to progress with your business, and what you're going to be doing next, and what projects you're going to be working on. And tell us if you think that we should start a YouTube channel for TJ to talk to us about teen entrepreneurship and his landscaping business. Yep. So, all right, guys, have a great week and get to work.
Get to work. Have a good week.